don't wanna be an American idiot.
So I
It just
think
feels like we
that-
always transition very abruptly between things. It's not very
Yes.
seamless because it doesn't seem like change happens before it's forced.
I guess in America, our mode has been to just kind of march forward no matter what's happening, no matter how bad the economy gets. I'm afraid as to what can happen. I would love to see something preemptively like started up. I don't know if that's via UBI or these programs to retrain people, but
Oh, we've had job retraining programs for years, and like at the state level, at the city level, and they're pretty poorly run,
because
and
it's
they have poor
through the
placement
government?
rates.
another thing that I might have seen a couple of years back is the younger people can a lot of times pick up and sort of learn skills, whereas people that are in their 40s, a lot of times those programs are literally just wasting them.
There's a graph
Yeah.
at like the age of 30, you kind of meet your peak level of like engagement and taking in new information, and then it exponentially drops from there.
That probably comes from like dissociative labor theory. where
Yeah.
you're checked out of the world.
if you go the UBI route, you're going to have to generate so much wealth in a very specific portion of the economy and hope that that is then enough to
You mean the
pay
consumer
folks.
economy?
Not just the consumer economy, but think about the kinds of jobs that will be available in the future as we lose a lot of that working with your hands. Now, I am not a automation is killing every job kind of person. Like, I don't know, are we going to build a robot to pave roads? Maybe, but how far away is that, right?
How safe is it?
Right. So I feel like we still
We'll
have
move fast and break
decades.
things. So
And that's what the Silicon Valley mantra.
yeah, exactly.
If
but
Silicon
like
Va-
it
if
happens.
Washington- If Silicon Valley could take over Washington, I feel like that would be like
Oh,
how we
goodness.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. We would get to UBI pretty fast if Silicon Valley took over Washington because, yeah, we would move extremely fast. They'd be like, oh, yeah, we're automating that. We're figuring this
You leave so
out.
many people behind, right?
Yeah, so I think that's the problem. We need that balance of labor that works with their hands and then, you know, the traditional kind of white-collar jobs.
But I think a lot of those white collar jobs are going to be disappearing as well because there will always be
Pharmacy.
maintenance over the robots and then some human oracles basically interfacing with
Maybe
robots.
I'm just an old man, but I just do not see us getting good enough that the price of these technologies comes down enough to make
They have
them...
artificial intelligence who are putting copywriters out of work. They can automate your advertising words.
Yeah, but I guess my question is when do you think that hits critical mass such that it's like, well, there's no reason to have a copyright
Moore's law would
anymore?
say like next year. The fact that they already introduced like automated copywriting means that like next year they could have actually script writing. Like all of these professions that keep people employed from entertainment could be all done by an algorithm, and TikTok's already kind of proving that.
Yeah, but there's always going to be a need for that like human touch, I would say.
We underestimate what we can do in 10 years. Like, I think 10 years is going to look way different, but in the next year, the next 5 years, I'd be like, wow, like, they're really pushing this technology.
Right.
I don't think it's going to be next year. I
know
just
what you
mean
mean.
like
I know what you mean.
it's moving at a pace that's much faster than I think people are
Giving it credit,
appreciating.
yeah.
Like the fact that we're like on the fourth industrial revolution basically is like crazy because it's taken like thousands of years, then a couple hundred years, and now it's like 50 years since like we
Faster and faster.
exactly,
Yeah,
you know.
that cumulative knowledge.
I hear people talking about the middle class. So as these jobs, as AI moves in, white collar, blue collar jobs, whatever it is, the evaporation of the middle class. It's kind of crazy because I almost think that there's two things going on. I think there's some automation, some people being replaced, whatever it might be. But at the other side of it, I think we had a really good run. There's a lot of people that I think took up good jobs and stayed there for 20 years and they don't do a whole lot. That when this person retires, they're not going to hire someone else. They're just going to either move that job function with somebody else
Or
automate it
offshore.
their way, something like that. So when they're talking about the middle class shrinking, I think that's a big component of these people kind of like aging out and us getting more effective,
It's not the
efficient.
It's
and
not
so
even
really
that the
need
middle
job.
class is shrinking, it's that it is actually becoming a global middle class,
Okay.
and so the
Oh,
United
okay.
States bubble is actually bursting.
That's fair.
Right. If you think of it as a market bubble, we're overvalued now that talent is distributed across the world and you can communicate with it.
And that's kind of what happened with the auto workers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It got too
We
expensive.
globalized them
It got
and
too expensive, so
manufacturing outsourced.
Oh, man.
You know, I could see a world where it's like, hey, coal is now no longer a thing at all. We're closing down every coal mine in America. That's going to hit places like West Virginia really hard. We're going to have to start paying reparations to places like, hey, I don't know what to tell you, West Virginia. Here's $1 billion to help like figure out that transition.
So how does this not just become UBI then?
I guess maybe it does.
I guess maybe the question is how do you pay for the UBI?
What if
These
you
other
just
energy sources.
redistributed government wages since that's already a UBI? Sorry.
No, you're cool.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt. I mean, I did, but for that joke. Sorry.